All right, all right, all right. Jeremy in the house with Mike Vidan.
Yeah, we're here.
Hello, everyone.
What's
We
up?
are
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
It's been a few weeks. I'm anxious, man.
Has
I'm
been.
excited.
I think everybody's excited.
Yeah. We're very, very excited. We already got a bunch of people in the comment section. And as you know,
And Tommy
as you
Baines
can see-
commented 3 times.
Well, yeah, no doubt. That's typical and par for the course. Good to have Mike Vidan in the room with us tonight. Mike, how are you, brother?
I am good, and I appreciate you guys having me on. What an honor.
Sure that it is. You
Absolutely.
do know that this is the worst podcast ever. So by definition, I like that's what it's not even self-proclaimed. We adopted that week one. The very first comment was, "This is the worst podcast ever." We said we got to run with that.
Well,
Yep.
and I mean, it's perfect for me because I also am really horrible at that stuff. So it's great.
Yeah, well, we're just going to run with it, much like we did with Joe Deary just a few weeks ago. We really want you to be more of the trifecta, more than just a special guest, more like a guest host. And we're going to talk pressure washing, business, romance, keto, all kinds of stuff, probably.
Oh, wonderful.
We're going to figure out what novel you're reading.
What are you reading, Mike?
I've actually probably like a lot of guys that are interested in business, growing their businesses. You find people that are maybe you connect with a little bit from like values and goals. And one of the guys, he's kind of come onto the scene, is Alex Hormozy.
Oh, sure.
Alex is he's just a genius, right? Like a legitimately Harvard graduate, went to go work, in the private sector and, all kinds of cool stuff. Gym owner. He's like, okay, I don't want to do this. I want to go out on my own. I want to start a business. He went from, owning a gym to having everything just basically stolen, starting from zero, built it up. But I've been reading a couple of his books. This one's called $100 Million Leads. It's about lead magnets, and then there's another one that's it's basically just like the sales side of it as well.
Right.
So I've kind of poured myself into those two, and they've been really beneficial. I mean, it helps in whatever sales type business that you're in.
Oh yeah, he's a beast. I gotta tell you, I struggle to watch him because of the nose thing, the nose strip, and the hair and the nose. Just kind of like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. So I will put him on driving down the road and just glean and glean and glean. I just can't watch him, but I can listen.
Yeah. Well, and that's actually what I do. I throw the AirPods in, and in the mornings, my wife and I, we've got a little routine, and we'll do like a 5-mile bike thing, and I will throw him in and just listen. And, anytime that you can spend a little bit of time learning and getting better and improving yourself, it's going to help your business grow. It's going to help, mentally, physically. You can learn a lot from other people that know more and are better than what, and what you do.
Oh, he's a beast. I think I come across Alex like maybe a year and a half ago before it like blew up crazy.
Yeah.
And it was just like he was so far ahead. I don't even know. I mean, stuff he talks about is way over me too. Mike, it looks like Mike has been disconnected. He says he's working on it.
Okay, I am working on
He's
it.
back.
And I had to go. Am I back? Can you
You're
hear me?
back.
You're here.
Okay.
We got you.
Yeah, I had to unplug from my other camera, so apologize. It kind of went weird on me. I don't know what happened, but who knows? It may happen again. Yeah, I'm a big Alex Hormozy fan. Great content. And I know this is a weird way to start out a podcast, but we don't talk about that enough, that there are a lot of gurus, if you will, outside of the pressure washing world who are phenomenal, that if you can glean some of this stuff from them and bring it into your world, in particular in the area of pressure washing, and even more so in particular in the area of sales, exponentially your business will grow. No doubt, hands down.
Absolutely.
Mike, would you mind taking just a moment for anyone out there who doesn't know Mike Vidan? You're 27 years into the industry, something like that, but take just a moment, in fact, as much time as you want. Give us your intro into pressure washing and into business, and bring us up a little bit to where you are. Maybe this will kind of generate some questions within the audience, but also I'm confident Jeremy and I will also find room in there for questions. So take
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, a little bit about me. Okay. My name is Mike. And it's 21 years owning a pressure washing business. Mike was trying to make me older than he is. And
that's right.
But, so, I went to college. I graduated from the Citadel back in 1996. Which is, a lot of people don't know what that is. It's a military college in South Carolina. I did that. Went to go work in corporate America in various sales positions. Then I got into production management with a company called Georgia Pacific, which is a Fortune 50 company.
Wow.
Did production management, quality control, stuff of that nature. Got back into sales, and then went to go work for another company out on the West Coast. Same product lines, and I'm covering about 14 states, selling about $20 million worth of product a year in that territory.
Cheap.
And I did that for quite some time. So, innately, I was just always, kind of a sales guy. That's what I've always kind of, people are like, oh, you're a salesperson. And I am. And so I went from that and so I moved. I was in Atlanta, moved to Savannah, and we've been here for, probably 28, 29 years. But I was working for Georgia Pacific at the time. And every morning there was a core group of guys, and we would go. There was a gym downtown Savannah, and every morning at about 5:00, we would all go down there. We'd work out, and it was a great group. Some of the most successful people in the area. And I was young. I was very lucky to be surrounded by guys that eventually turned into mentors. One of the guys was in the financial world. He was a money market guy, and he every once in a while he would roll up into the gym at 5 a.m. and he would be drenched and dirty. And the first couple of times I was like, and I knew that he put on a suit and go to work. I'm like, what is this? And he's like, oh, I have a pressure washing business, and my guys didn't show up last night, so I had to get up and I had to go do the route. And every once a month or something, and a guy named Buster is who it was. Buster wouldn't show up, and Buster, when he didn't show up, Craig would have to go in and he would have to do the work, and then he'd come in and he'd be, as we all know, dirty and wet. And so it was route work, a lot of commercial stuff. Anyway, one morning Craig comes in and says, just kind of casually to all of us, yeah, he said, we're moving to Richmond, Virginia. I got a job with Wachovia, which is Wells Fargo now. Great position, can't turn it up. And I don't know why I said it, because I didn't care. I said, what are you going to do with the pressure washing business? Like, we'd probably talked about it 2 or 3 times max over the several years that, we were acquaintances. And he goes, I don't know. I'm probably just going to sell off the equipment. And one of our buddies that was standing there, who I actually just had coffee with this morning, has been my mentor since way back. And he looked at me and he said, Mike's going to buy it. And I said, Mike's going to buy it? He goes, yeah, you're buying the pressure washing business. And I was like, I don't know anything about pressure washing. He's like, yeah. He said, this is perfect. You've got that entrepreneurial spirit. And I tried lots of little things. I owned a motorcycle shop, like a custom bike shop, a little apparel line, some stuff like that. And I said, okay, I guess I'm buying this pressure. And Greg is arguably the wealthiest human that I know, probably the most successful person, unbelievably intelligent, and just like a good, caring dude. And like, when he said that, I was like, okay, he knows better than I do. And so, long story short, I went home, told my wife that we were going to be buying a pressure washing business. And she looked at me and she goes, what do you know about running a pressure washing business?
Right.
Or what do you know about pressure washing? And then what do you know about running your own business like this? And I was like, I don't know anything, but Greg said that I needed to buy it. And she said, is Greg going to give us the money to buy it? And I said, I don't think so, but I think it's something that we need to do. So we discussed a price, and I it was a very, very reasonable price for what the business was doing. It was grossing $46,000 a year at that point.
Okay.
They were working 2 days a week, and they were cleaning the Outback and the Cracker Barrels and a bunch of restaurants. And so that was what it was doing. And I ended up taking an equity line out of my house because I didn't have any extra money to buy the business. And so I took out an equity line, bought the business. I got 2 trailers. I got Buster. I got another guy called Beggy, who is an immigrant from like Lithuania or somewhere. And
Craig saw you coming, brother. Craig didn't want to buy that business.
Craig is still laughing, but so I bought the business, and that's how it all started. And it's been a crazy ride. We've gone from starting with just the 2 guys to me firing Buster because he couldn't show up on time, learning everything I could about the business. Back in these days, it was on internet forums and the old forum days with like. And back then it was very funny. Everybody was like, "Oh, let's join an org." Everything was about orgs.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot. I was the young, arrogant guy that probably everybody hated and thought, I thought I knew what I was doing and I was good, whatever. So long story short, and I guess it's longer than anticipated, but that's kind of the origin story. But what I was saying is, we started with the 2, went down to 1. I learned everything I could. And then, at one point we had 10 trucks on the road and 10 employees. And then, the economy hit us hard in like 2009 ish. And we scaled way back and really focused on residential. And, the size of the business has fluctuated since, but I'm at a point now where we're good with just, 2 trucks out on the road. And it's a great place for us. And, we can talk about scaling and some of those things if that, we go that direction. But yeah, so that's it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What a story.
It's awesome. Yeah. I'm kind of at a loss. Yeah. You had mentioned that
you said you had 2 trucks.
Say what?
You had 2. You got 2 trucks on the road. Are they 2 guys in each truck or just solo?
No, we are 1 man, 1 truck. And then when we get into, commercial jobs, I'll bring other people in, and we've always got backups, like guys that can come in and do part-time work. I've got 1 guy that I don't really even consider a full-time guy, but we've got a little night route work and that's right up his alley. He's got a full-time job. And then 2 nights a week, he goes and does the night stuff for us.
It's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have these guys been with you, Mike?
My main guy, who is the one that you always see on the channel, is Mac, and he's been with me for about 5 years. And then I've got Chris, who he's relatively new, and then Matthew is my night work guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is Grand Slam Power Wash. Yeah, Mac is awesome. Mac is when it was funny, I was looking for somebody to replace somebody that I needed to desperately get rid of because he was just a parasite and a terrible human. But I was looking for somebody, and I'd had the job listings everywhere on Indeed and anywhere where you could post. I was definitely trying to find a good quality person, and I get this random email, and I read this email, and I still have it because when I read it, I went into my wife and I go, I think I'm getting punked because this seems way too good to be true. This guy, he was living in Kentucky actually, and he was working at a staffing agency, like helping people find jobs. And he sends me this email that he wanted to move to Savannah, and he has a passion for cleaning, and he's got he's got what is it, OCD, and he's got a real attention, eye for detail. And just like this thing, I was like, okay, so one of my friends is totally messing with me because this is just too good to be true. And so I didn't respond immediately. Then I was like, okay, I got to respond. So I actually ended up calling him, and we talked, and I was like, what's your time frame look like? And he was like, whenever you're ready. And I was like, I'm ready. Come on. And so he came down like a week or 2 later, got started, and he is just by far the best employee that I've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's also the highest paid employee that I ever had. And those things go hand in hand. And it was something when I was starting out, I was so cheap and I was wanting to pay everybody $10, $12 an hour. And when you pay people that, that's what you get. Right.
Okay.
And so I decided like, I wanted a quality person. I wanted somebody that I could trust. I wanted somebody that would be a good steward of my name, my equipment, my business. And so you got to pay, and it's worth every single penny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Like that.
No doubt. You know, let's hang out around that a little bit, unless Jeremy's wanting to go in a different direction. I hear this idea of hiring employees. I mean, you got to answer a question for me and everyone else out there who's watching, who's probably like this. Answer this question if you can, Mike. Nobody can do it as good as me, right? And they're not going to do the job to my standard. Respond, please.
100% accurate.
Yep.
And that's one of the biggest hurdles that guys have to make, going from a owner operator to somebody that is not in the field every single day, or somebody that is hiring somebody as a helper, or, to add an additional vehicle, truck, whatever the case is. Nobody is ever going to do it as good as you are. They are not going to care about your business like you do. They are not going to care about your customers like you do. They're not going to care about your reputation. They're not going to stay awake at night thinking about the business, how it can get better, how they can do a better job marketing, how they can improve customer communication, how they can make, the business, the customer experience better, streamlining things. Nobody is going to do that like the guy that owns the business. And so that's the disconnect. And it's very difficult to step away and say, okay, I understand that they're not going to be as good as me, but I can train them up to be as good as they can possibly be. And if you create an environment for them and a culture that, because that's what it is. It's a cultural thing. If you can create a culture and people can adopt that culture, then they're not going to be as good. They're not going to care as much. The equipment is not going to look anywhere near what it does when you're on the truck and you're taking care of it, because you're the sole response, you're solely responsible. Joe Deary jokes about like he beats the hell out of his stuff, right? I respect that. I know that, Mike, you don't, right? Your stuff always looks beautiful, pristine. Well, you can't tell. But long story short, no employee is going to be able to do it as good as you, and they're not going to care as much. And that's the thing. You have to understand that. And as long as you can understand that, and don't criticize or don't, come down on them, because they never will. It's not their business.
It's not theirs. Yeah. Don't feel obligated to answer that first part of that question. I like this. Do you have Mac on hourly or percentage split or combination? How do you go about paying him?
It's a great question, and one that I get all the time. And we have done it every single way. I have done percentage based, and I have done hourly. Now, Mac is a hourly employee. He gets a ton of benefits. He gets bonuses. He gets, one of the things that we've done in Quote IQ is put the ability to accept tips, right? And and a lot of guys are like, I don't want that. So we've made it so you can actually take it off if that's not your thing. But he gets tips like you wouldn't believe. I think the last time I checked was about a month ago, and he'd made almost 15 grand this year in tips.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's just what I see through Quote IQ. He'll get them all the time in cash and stuff like that. So, and what that does, in my opinion, is it incentivizes them to do a better job, to forge those relationships with customers, because this is what we do. It's all about relationships. It's about building trust. And when people trust you, when they like you, and you go above and beyond, they want for you, especially if they know you're just the guy that's out there doing the work. And so that's one incentive. He gets paid vacation, and there's always and I hate to use the word, but it's a discretionary year-end bonus based on performance and other metrics that we take a look at. Reviews, when they generate reviews, they get they get a bonus, a little bump, if you will, if in the review it mentions their name. So that incentivizes them to say, hey, when you get your invoice after you pay, you're going to get prompted with our, Google review profile. And if you can leave a review, then I'm going to get a little something. And people want to help, right? And it's that little touch. And if you've created an experience and bond with that person, they're definitely more willing to do it. Yeah. I had guys in the past, they wouldn't go and knock on the door, right? They wouldn't introduce themselves. They just go, they do the thing, and they'd haul ass. Now, one of our SOPs is we go, we introduce, we ask to do the pre-inspection walkthrough. We do the entire job. After it's over, hey, do you want to come and walk around? Again, it gives them the opportunity to build a little bit of a relationship, and then hopefully get a tip and hopefully get a review, which again, they get a little bump for.
Yeah.
Nice. Like that.
But I think, in my opinion, that pay structure has worked better for my business. And there's a delicate balance too, because when you've got employees, they don't necessarily have to they don't need to know what you're charging, right? That's your business. Sure. And when, if you're a percentage based employee and that, the job, it's a $4,000 roof house, driveway combo, and you're making 20%, that can start to mentally play with somebody. And they're like, well, I'm the one that's doing all the work. I'm the one that's out here busting my ass. I'm the one that's, sweating and bleeding and sore at the end of the day. And what they don't see, and unfortunately, is that they're just a very small component of the equation. And the equation is the insurance, customer acquisition, the marketing, the follow-up, all of the things that it takes to run a successful business. And so, that's why I like just the hourly wage.
Yeah. Jeremy, how do you pay your guy?
Hourly, cash, off the book. Which my guy's part-time, and he's got another job. Actually,
we've got the IRS as we speak.
1099.
Okay.
I could actually use him as a subcontractor because he actually has his own wash business, but he's not very busy, so he comes and helps me. So
right. Well, that's great.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did. So, last year was actually the first year that everybody was on, it was not above board because everybody was 1099s. We were kind of, I hope the IRS is not watching, but we were kind of, playing around with that a little bit. But now, everybody's a W-2, and it works out better. It's a lot easier. I've got my accountant that handles the payroll, and we provide the hours at the beginning of the week, and they're paid on Thursday night for the previous week. So it's just a lot smoother for us.
Yeah.
You pay weekly?
Yeah, every week. Yep.
Okay. It feels like that would be what most people would like instead of bi-weekly.
It is. And a lot, I look at it from the perspective of how I want to be paid, right? In the corporate world, it's every 2 weeks. But if you're out there every single day and, not that you're just scraping, but everybody's financial situation is different. And I just want everybody to be as comfortable as they can possibly be. And doing it weekly is just what we've always done.
Yeah, and it probably keeps your employees from coming to you wanting an advance in pay if they know they're going to be getting paid, as you said, on Thursday night. Now, years ago, I had a roofer friend owned a roofing company, and he said he never paid his guys on Thursday because he'd never see them on Fridays.
Yeah, and again, I think it's you got to do a really good job hiring and vetting. And then as soon as you identify a problem person, you got to get rid of them. I was guilty of okay, he's good enough, and he's good enough is not good enough for my business anymore. And it should never be good enough. Like that. If somebody's if you ever tell yourself, well, he does a good enough job, fire him right there. Okay. Because guys like that, it's going to be a cancer. They're going to be a problem. I had a guy, just like you had said, this dude, every day it was like, hey, can you pay me for today? And that just gets cumbersome. It gets annoying. Like, I don't want to pay you every day. I don't want to keep up with it. Right. And so I've gone through enough bad employees to where I know what to look for and I know what I'm not going to tolerate. And that has bred a much higher quality of person that we have under our employ now.
Very motivating.
Yeah.
So Griffin Jones says, do you have employees take the checks and the cash for the job? How do you deal with situations like that?
Right. And so it goes back to what I said, where I don't like them to know what we're making. Okay. And because of that, again, if you guys aren't familiar, and hopefully you are, I'm the co-founder of Quote IQ, which is a CRM that, we built specifically for the home service industry. Right. And I built it, and I did it with Justin Rogers. And the reason that we built this thing was we wanted like kind of the one place to go to for all of your things. Before we built Quote IQ, I was using like 5 different platforms to try to accomplish everything: scheduling software, constant contact to send emails. I was using various quoting things and a lot of different things that I won't mention now because I don't want to give anybody free advertising on your podcast. But we basically created an all-in-one app where everything can take place in one spot. One of the things, and so the beautiful thing about this is all these other, and I was one of the biggest affiliates for a lot of these companies, right? But they would never listen to me. I'd be like, hey, I'd really like we'll pass that up the chain. And it would never get passed up the chain. They never took, it was because it's like big Wall Street that's running these companies, like, other CRMs. And it's not guys like us that are out there, working every single day. And so I know what I needed, and I can assume what I needed is very similar to what other people needed. So long story short, again, and I apologize, folks, but as far as the payment goes, my guys never collect checks, never collect cash. Once the work is done, they have their phone, and there's permissions and whatnot, so they can see the schedule, they can see the job, the scope of work, all of that. And then when it's done, they push complete. It sends an invoice to the customer, and then the customer pays it. So there's very few times, every once in a while, someone will pay cash or they'll leave a check, and that's fine. But yeah, for the most part, it's all done online. And that's how most people want to do business, right? It makes it so much easier for the customer. And at the end of the day, my business can't run based on somebody else's schedule, right? So if I'm trying to schedule our work around Susie being home so I can get paid, or, Johnny homeowner, he gets home from work at, 2, I have to be there at, so he can pay me. Right. You can't run it like, that's not how it works. In today's world, you double click the side button and you pay that invoice, and you're done. That's how people want to work.
Yeah. I pay my lawn guy that way. I have a few other homes in different states, and anything is taken care of on those properties. I don't see that stuff taking place. They send me an invoice, and I click it and I pay for it. That's kind of where we're at. That's not where we're going. That's where we're at. People really need to get used to that. And with that said, I want to encourage everyone. A lot of you guys out there, we have 88 people in the chat room. A lot of you guys are really afraid to scale up into the area of taking Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, Apple Pay, things of that nature. And I realize it's tricky, but you're not going to get beat by your competition. You're going to get lapped by your competition if you don't catch up. I don't like it either. I wish it weren't like that, but daily, certainly regularly, I have my customers say, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's awfully convenient. That's very convenient. I like how convenient that you run your business." So I would encourage you to get every platform that you possibly can to receive money. And also, by the way, I'm quite sure that Quote IQ, which I know very little about, but I can only imagine that, as you said earlier, there is a way to receive tips. And you're going to get more tips with a CRM than otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only the tips, but we built this thing and we call it the review multiplier. And every invoice that's paid through the app, immediately you push pay, you get completed payment, and then automatically it redirects to your Google business profile asking for a review.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's amazing how many reviews it's 10x what we used to get just from our email automation and our sequences, where I ask repeatedly, please, my guys ask, please leave us a review. It's difficult. People, oh yeah, we'll leave you a review. A lot of people won't. I've been in business for 20 something years, and we've got I don't even know how many reviews, 300, 350 or whatever. I've not actively been, going after them for a long time, but now that we have this thing in place, like and it's just a no brainer. And those reviews equate to more money, equate to more customers, equate to you getting pushed up in that, that 3-pack. The more you get, like, reviews are gold.
Reviews are gold. Yeah,
absolutely. Priceless, I think.
Yeah.
Now, I got 2 5-star Google reviews today. Both of them, I almost, for a second, I thought maybe it was AI generated because they were almost exactly the same. But both of these customers had told me in front of me that that I exceeded their expectations, and that was in both of the reviews. But both of those, and I don't know if Quote IQ allows for this, Mike, but Jeremy and I we both use Markate, and when we send that invoice or we click the complete tab, they automatically get the request for the Google review. But then I get a prompt on my phone telling me that they've viewed the request. So I know that they get the request for the 5-star Google review. And I don't know, maybe you can lead into that.
Well, no, it's great, and obviously, that's a good app. And they've got a lot of great features. One of which is the notifications. So when somebody viewed your estimate, and we do the same thing within Quote IQ. So I love it. Mike has viewed your invoice. Mike has paid your invoice.
Yep.
Or we've got it set up for all of them with InstaQuote, and Mary left you a tip, right? Like, and it shows you how much the tip was. Like, those are the best. Like, I just love to pick up my phone and scroll through all the notifications that we get, on the home screen. But it's great. And the automation as well, we've taken it a step further with the review multiplier, where it redirects them automatically. They don't have to click on a single thing. It just pops up in their face. But like what you guys are doing, you've got the automation in place. So once the invoice is sent, received, whatever, you start getting, we've got a long drip of emails for every point in our sales process, from when they get a quote. If they don't accept the quote, they stick in they stick in that category, and they get dripped emails until they either opt in, say yes, schedule me, or they opt out, or they decline the estimate. And if they decline the estimate, guess what happens then? Hey, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. If anything changes, let us know. And then I've got a couple others in place. And this is pure gold. If anybody's using email automation, if somebody declines and you've got the capability that you do in Quote IQ to send an email, 11 months after I have a declined email, they get another email that says, hey, it's been about a year since you were looking for services. I don't know, what's going on with the other company, but we would love to provide an estimate for you, blah, blah, blah. So not only are you didn't get the job the first time, you thanked them, whatever, but then you're following up a year later, because typically down here, people are doing it once a year. Right. So you're hitting them again at the opportune time. And we all know that a lot of businesses come and go. And that company, I mean, how many phone calls do you guys get a week where it's like, well, the last guy did it for $200. We'll call him. Well, I did, and he's out of business. Exactly. And that's why that follow-up email is so important.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Let's talk about pricing, if you would. We're not to go into the details of pricing, but just to kind of bounce off of what you just said there. That previous, the guy they had last year was $200, whatever. The $99 guy. Was there a time when you were just too cheap? Did you have to see an evolution, or what was that like for you?
Man, I was so cheap, and it's embarrassing to think about how cheap I was. Like we would do, 1,200 square foot houses for, $150, $200. And like, we won't show up for any job for under our minimum price is $225 for anything. And clearly we're not going to be doing any house for $150 anymore. But there was a time where we were definitely not valuing ourselves. And it was a mental thing that I had to get over, because, it was like, hey, what do you do, Mike? Oh, I own a pressure washing business. Like, I was embarrassed early on. Like, I own a pressure wash. Like, you're a little, like, it was like, it wasn't prestigious. It wasn't, there was nothing cool about it. Now I'm like, they're like, hey, what do you do? I was like, oh, I'm a pressure washer. Right.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I love it. But it was a mental thing. And a lot of guys, whether it's their age, they're getting into it young, their experience, they don't have a lot of experience, or they just don't think that what they're doing is valuable enough to charge what they should truly be charging. And that's a mindset thing. And that was a mindset that I had, and I had to get over it. And it took me way too long. So if anybody's watching and you're questioning whether you're too cheap or you're not, you are too cheap. And I challenge every single person here. The next 5 quotes that you give, come up with the number that you want to quote them, add $100 to it, and push send. Okay. Yeah. And I promise you, you are not going to lose as much as you think. Right. And what it was for me, it was like, okay, I'm just going to push price. I'm going to continually push price. And I did it in my lawn care business. We've since sold that, but I decided, okay, we're too cheap. I went in to when we started it, I was way too cheap. And I sent out an email at the beginning of the year and I said, we are raising prices. Everybody was on a monthly contract. I'm raising prices by, and I can't remember what the percentage was, but it equated to, and I broke it down in the email to like, $1.50 a day or whatever it was, just to try to minimize the impact. And I was thinking there was going to be a mass exodus, maybe one person left, but we're making, another 20% or whatever it was on top of it for nothing. That's straight to the bottom line, right?
Wow.
Like you didn't do anything different. And that's why I challenge you to raise your prices, whether it's $100 every quote, 10%, 20%. You are not going to lose business as a result. And everybody's like, well, the $99 guy, this and that. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Learn how to sell, learn how to convey the value that you offer. And more importantly, target the people with the money because they don't care about the price. I only try to sell to rich people, solve rich people's problems, right? That's the key to success is you find the people with the most money, you find out what their pain points are, and you go after them and you fill that void that they have. And the void, what I have found is when somebody rolls up or, they're Googling, he wants his house washed. Okay, I'm going to Google it. Whoever pops up first, he's going to call number one. So do your work to try to be number one. Call that number. If that guy doesn't answer, guess what? That person with the money who's got time, his time is very valuable. He's just going to go to number two and call that person. And if that guy doesn't answer, he's not going to leave a message. He's not going to wait around for you to show up on Wednesday to give a quote. You know what he's going to do? He's going to move on to the next guy until he can get somebody that will give him a price right then, get him on the schedule right then, so he can be done with it. He can move on to more important things because the pressure washing isn't that important. That's why he wants to get it done. So I've crafted everything that I do in my business to focus on the things that I think that people with money want. And that is they value their time more than their money. And they're willing to give us their money so they don't have to waste time on the stuff that they don't want to do.
Right.
So, that's kind of my whole thing on pricing, right? Maximize, push it as much as you can. And you'll find out when you've gone too far. People aren't going to schedule. And so there's a delicate balance there. And so you just got to find that balance in your market and your business and push it.
Yeah. If I can add an addendum to that, because I can hear some of our audience, in particular, those who just really enjoy my type of, my personality. When you said, I market to the rich people. Okay. So I want to help somebody who's like, man, that just doesn't set well with my spirit. I don't feel that. It just feels like I feel greedy or whatever. Here's the thing. If you market to the wealthy, you can always reach those who aren't wealthy. But if you market to those who aren't wealthy, you'll never get those higher paying jobs. The way that it works. That's the way our system is built. And so you really do have to get over that. Market to those, and you can always, and by the way, here's another thing on that same line. Is we feel guilty. We're like, man, that little tiny house that, it's kind of run down. It's not in the best neighborhood. If they want their house washed, they will find someone. There are guys out there who will do it. You don't have to feel like you have to lower your price to help that person out. That's wonderful. And I'm all about people over profits. Everybody knows that. That has nothing to do with that. My point being is that we don't have to feel guilty as if that person will never get their house washed. Believe you me, they will get their house washed if they want their house washed.
Right.
But those who have money, it's maintenance for them. It's not even a luxury for them. They just need their house washed. They don't even want to be home. Often they don't even ask the price.
Yep.
So cater to those so that you can feel real comfortable dealing with those who do not have the money in any way that you feel
right. And there was a guilt when you had asked the question earlier about, was there a point in your your business when you were like, okay, I need to change how I was pricing. I felt guilty charging even like you said, a little house, maybe it's a grandma or a widow, whatever the case is. Charge, like it should be $250, right? I've got overhead, I've got employees, I've got insurance. This is a business. Yeah. And I know people over profits, that's your thing. And I respect that. And I say it many times on my channel. This is a business. It's not a charity.
Sure.
You can be charitable if you make enough money in your business to do all kinds of great things. I also have adopted a new phrase, and it is this. It is, we are in this business to make money. We are not in this business to make friends. And I know that goes against a lot of, some of your principles but it's really not, because at the end of the day, like I said, you can be as charitable as you want to be, but you got to have the means to be charitable. And the means comes from working hard and charging what you should be charging. I'm not talking about, overcharging. I'm not talking about taking advantage of people, because that's the most beautiful thing. People will say that to me all the time, like in the comment sections. They're like, oh, you're a scammer. You're taking advantage of people. Well, no, I'm not. I provide an estimate, and you can either choose it or you cannot. I've actually never, in the 21 years we've been in business, I've never forced anybody to hire my company.
That's right.
I've tried. Yeah. I've never been able to, no, I've never tried. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's their choice. They can choose to not hire our company, or they can choose to hire our company. Yeah.
Well, say that real loud for the people in the back, that there is a balance. And, again, the people over profits does not say that we're not about making money. The fact of the matter is, the more that we make, the more charitable we can be.
Right.
And if you haven't paid your own, it's, I flew on a plane a few weeks ago, and anytime I've ever flown on a plane, the stewardess giving all the instructions and directions, she always says, if the mask falls, take it for yourself first, then to your neighbor.
So you can help other people.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and Roger the Tinkerer said the price is the same no matter where they are, whether they're in an upscale home or not. And that's absolutely right. And that's why you have to understand the metrics of your business, understand your costs, your, what it takes for you to be where you want to be financially. And then, you you set your pricing based on that. And so, yeah, I don't care if you're in, a 500 square foot house. My minimum price is $225. You're going to pay $225 if you want us to come and clean that house. And like Mike said, there's a lot of guys that will go and clean it for $59, but it just doesn't make economic sense or good business sense for us to do that. We'd rather spend our time where we can. So yeah, it's just one of those things. And I used to put yard signs out in front of like neighborhoods that now I look back and I was like, I put, these signs in front of these neighborhoods for years, and we never got a single call from them because those neighborhoods don't care. Like they're in a position economically where a house wash is not a priority, right? They're going to have, grass that's 2 feet tall and 3 cars in the driveway that don't run, and everything's going to look terrible. And why would I possibly send postcards to them? Why would I, put my signs out there? Why would I have people go knock on doors or do flyers? You don't, right? Identify the people that can afford your service and target them.
We're the only ones who don't do that. Like everybody does that. Lexus does that. Mercedes does that. But so does Honda, and so does Toyota. They just do.
Right.
Jeremy's chomping at the bit there. I can see it. Well, I had something pop up in my mind, and I was just waiting. I was waiting my turn, Mike.
Anyway. I apologize. I'm quite a talker.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
About this
no,
Mike.
Good. Oh. I'm talking about Mikey Fresh. But so I guess the question is, you've been in it for 21 years. You've seen a lot of things change. You've seen the business probably go in different directions. Just the evolution of it. So I'm thinking, you co-founder of Quote IQ. Is there any other trends that you see shaping the future of our industry, or is there anything coming out in the future that you're looking for, or thinking that, I know that drones are up and coming, and some robot cleaning, surface cleaners and stuff. And I'm just curious, what do you see, or do you see anything else evolving in our business?
We have got such a fragmented industry, right? If you look at other industries, there is a ton of consolidation. You've got, and not necessarily in the home service. I mean, you've got like garage door companies, that national garage door companies that are going up and they're buying out all the little guys, right? That's not happening in our industry, and I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't know why I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think it is. But I think Mike Andes, who does, he's a lawn care guy, right? Very sharp guy. He's got a YouTube channel, and he actually started a CRM as well. But he has franchised Augusta Lawn Care to, like, I can't remember, 150, 200, across multiple countries. And his whole thing is consolidation and, trying to make the industry better by setting a standard. And so what I think our industry needs is it is a fragmented, it's fragmented, of course. And you've got hundreds of thousands of owner operators across the United States and in Canada and everywhere else. Ideally, what I would like to see is people understand it's not a side hustle. I want people to, and there are probably more than I even know, run their businesses like a business. And I think that was one of the biggest things is, the barrier for entry is so low in a lot of these home service industries that you get guys that are like, oh, I can go get a pressure washer for a couple $100 at Home Depot. I'm in business. Well, that doesn't make you a business. That makes you a guy with a pressure washer that can go out and do, which lowers the standard for the industry. If everybody, brought themselves up to the level of legitimate businesses like you guys, right? I think that it makes everybody that much better. If they look up to, other people, people, I don't know, drones are cool. Are they practical? Not for 90% of the applications out there. Robotic surface cleaners, probably about as cool as the robot lawnmowers, right? Yeah. Where I think the real change is in the marketing, in the ability to reach more people in a more targeted way with AI and just the means that we have to target specific demographics. And I mean, if we were to talk about, Ford Explorers right now, probably within, 20, 30 minutes, when I pick up my phone, I'm going to get an ad for a Ford Explorer.
Right.
We can do that as small business owners, and it doesn't take, a huge ad agency to do this for you. Like, the technology is there for us to make our businesses better, grow our businesses, and not necessarily grow them, adding trucks. Like, a lot of guys are like, oh, I want to get more, bigger trucks. I want to do this. You can grow your business by increasing your prices. You can grow your business by adding a helper. You can grow your business by adding, one more. There's so many ways that we can make our businesses better. And I think that's where everybody's focus should be. And I don't think it's necessarily on the gadgets, right? Equipment is important. It allows us to be efficient and get the job done quickly and, done well. But it all goes back to marketing, and it all goes back to sales. And that's where the focus should be. Because if you're not good at sales, if you're not good at marketing, it doesn't matter about your equipment or the drone or the robots or anything else, right? If you don't have customers, you don't have a business.
That's why I preach that. It isn't about the equipment. It is about the equipment, but it isn't about the equipment, because if you ain't selling, you ain't working.
Right.
So,
yeah, our audience has heard us say before that the first thing the customer knows about you is how good you are at marketing. Yeah. That's the first. And until you show up, case in point, one of the homes I watched today is my biggest ticket today. I roll up, the guy comes out. And he told me, he said, when I saw your truck on Facebook on one of the local forums, he said, I can't afford that guy. because he saw my truck. He said, but all the other trucks look like crap. And he said, I don't want them coming, but so the case in point, in my point being, is that they don't even know what you have until you market. And
Right.
so what Nancy knows about you most is that you're good at marketing, that you're better at marketing than everyone else. And so the first thing we have to become is great marketeers.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the best, right? For me, that's the biggest, that's the game, right? Like,
absolutely.
Customer acquisition is so fun. And when you can figure it out and dial it in, and there are so many things that that didn't work. And I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on stuff that didn't work. And when stuff doesn't work, you don't just throw in the towel. You don't give up. You don't say, oh, this isn't for me. Cause that's what I hear. I went and knocked on 30 doors and I didn't get a single job. Or we sent out 500 flyers. And guess what? I didn't get a single call. Well, guess what, guys? It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen with 500 flyers or knocking on 30 doors. This is a repetition thing. It's a numbers game, and you have to be so consistent, and you have to have thick skin, and you have to understand that you are going to get kicked in the nuts, and you're going to get told no over and over and over. And the guys that are the most successful are the ones that they just take it and they get up and they keep pushing. And so the marketing is so critical.
Every no is one step closer to a yes. That's the way I look at it.
Right. Absolutely. I think Mike's frozen.
He's gone. Yeah. So I did some insurance sales previous before this. So I got real used to door knocking, taking no's, and learning the sales process.
Right.
And I think it's probably where a lot of guys in our industry struggle is in that sales. They see all the bright and shiny equipment. That's all nice and fine and dandy. But, I feel like you ought to put 80% of whatever budget you have to start with into your marketing.
100%. I met with a young kid today, super sharp, 20 years old, at the University of Georgia, honor student. And he is starting a pressure washing business up in Athens, Georgia. And he actually started it down here in Savannah, and he is going to, he's moving the company up. And so we had a mutual friend, actually the guy that told me to buy this business. And he's like, you need to talk to Mike. So I go down and we have, a nice meeting. But this kid, he was so impressive. And he said, he's like, I watch like TikTok and I watch all these channels and people are saying like, you go out and you can, these kids are driving Lamborghinis and stuff after they're knocking on doors. And he was like, I know it's not real because, I've been out there, I'm young, and I've been told no so many times, and it gets so, like that will crush the will of so many people. But like I said earlier, if you don't have thick skin, then you're probably going to end up like, just completely miserable, depressed, and think that the world is against you. And that's just not the case. Like it's not all W's all the time.
Right. No, you got to take the losses. The losses is what shapes you into the man you become or the business you become. I feel like.
Yeah, exactly right.
Absolutely. Mike, are you back?
I am back. Yeah, it was, I just caught the tail end of that, and it was John Maxwell who said, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. I like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. John Maxwell's the GOAT of all time, of course. So sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but now I'm on my iPad. I'm all over the place. I might be on my phone here in a few minutes. Just throw Jeremy into the wolves there.
No, all good.
It's all right. It's all right.
I'm a professional yapper, so I kept it going.
I love it. I love it. I love it. The sad thing is I was like right there to I had a thought on my mind. Now I can't remember what it was. So it'll come to me here in just a moment.
That's how I live life. I forget everything.
Absolutely. I get it.
Well, what do we got in the comments? Do we have anything here that we want to look at?
What's next for you, Mike? I mean, you've kind of, you know, obviously been on the scene for a while. You got a pressure washing business. You've got Quote IQ. There are other things. And here, I remember my question now. My question now. It was along that same lines there. You have been in YouTube, doing the YouTube thing for quite some time. Here's the elephant in the room. How has YouTube hurt the industry? And Jeremy and I both have channels, and we're active all the time. So it's the elephant in the room.
How has YouTube impacted?
Yeah, that might be a better question. How's it?
Repeat your question, because say it again.
Well, I just said, how has it hurt? Because I still get a lot of people who are like, Mike, you're killing the industry, and I have an answer for that, but I'd love to hear your answer.
Yeah, I've been called a YouTube watcher before, you know.
Oh well, I am the king of destroying the industry. I personally oversaturated the industry, and I have killed profit margins for entire countries. Solely my channel has done so.
You are the logo, by the way.
I am the logo. I am. It's the most stolen logo in the pressure washing industry, and it whatever. So this is my response to that, and I get it. And you know, it used to. And I can't say it bothered me, because the people that say things like that are people that are looking for excuses to why their business sucks. Okay. I have never told anybody, and I challenge anybody to go to my channel or anywhere where I've ever spoken publicly and say that I have said starting a pressure washing business is easy. That I have said that, you need to, you're going to make so much money pressure washing, right? And what I teach and what I preach is, if you put in the work, if you educate yourself, if you equip yourself with the knowledge and the equipment, because you need the equipment to be efficient, to be profitable, you can be successful. You can be successful. You won't, there's no guarantees, because 90% of the people that watch my channel, they will never take what I teach. They will never take what you teach, Mike, or you, Jeremy, or the experiences that we share, and they will do nothing with them. They will consume it, and they will sit on their couch and talk about what might be, what I want to do. And at the end of the day, and I've said this before, is nobody on their deathbed has ever said, man, I really wish I'd have done this, or I wish I'd done that. They talk about the things that they do, right? Yeah, and good. If you don't do it, if you don't go out there and put in effort, and that's what it takes. So to anybody that says YouTube is hurting the pressure washing industry, I say you're 100% wrong. I'm saying that my channel has helped more people better themselves, elevated the quality of the markets. The guys that complain are the ones, I'm never going to educate myself. I'm just going to do it the hard way. I'm not going to use a CRM. I'm just going to write it down on paper and do it the old way. Well, guess what? Times have changed, and your business will suffer if you don't change. And the only way you're going to change is you get better. You embrace technology, you embrace knowledge, you embrace the fact that the way that you're doing it, it probably isn't the greatest. And I'm not going to get ugly, but like, because inherently that's where I go. People that say that are the people that will never invest in themselves. They'll never say, you know what, I don't know enough. And I am a very, I'm a proud man. And I think that I'm relatively intelligent, and I think I'm pretty good at some of the things that I do. But I also understand that there are so many things that I am not good at. Quote IQ. I don't know anything about software development. I don't know about coding. I don't know about, SaaS. And there's a lot of these things. And do you know what I had to do? I had to educate myself in a rapid way, and I had to pay to play. I am willing to pay for the information that I don't have, because it shortcuts the learning curve. I practice what I preach, right? Guys that don't write the check are never going to get out what the guys that do, right? If you pay for How to Wash, someone was in here saying they took How to Wash, they took local domination. And guess what? When you invest in yourself and your business, you are way more likely to take that information and implement it, as opposed to just consume it and never do a thing with it, because you're never going to get better unless you implement. So to all of the haters that say that YouTube is hurting the pressure washing, I say, no, It's not. It's elevating it, and you're not keeping up, and you're just pissed off because someone came into your market because they listen to what we say, and they're doing better than you.
Tell us how you really feel, Mike. That was pretty good. I'm going back. I never watched this over again. I'm watching tonight. This is how I'm going to sleep tonight. I'm going to watch our episode. I'll add just a little something to that. Not that anything needs to be added to that, but just a personal reflection on that. And I've had people say the same thing, and quite honestly, early on, I may have been a small part of that group because I was very ignorant to it. It just made sense, I was just red-blooded American who just looking for something to be negative about. But now that I've been reintroduced to a better way of thinking, here's the way I look at it, Mike. If someone can watch a YouTube video or 10 YouTube videos or 20 YouTube videos and then go out and dominate a market, they were going to do it anyways.
Right.
Like they were already groomed up here and right here to run laps around us. So be it. They deserve it. If that's all that it took was just to hear a few voices in this industry and then go out and, like you did, Mike, like you tapped into the home equity line to get something done, more power to them. Like, I don't deserve it.
That's commitment.
Guys are lapping me over a few videos.
Right. Well, yeah, and that you summed up my point more eloquently and in a much condensed way.
Yeah, but I wasn't nearly as passionate about it. There wasn't a vein. There wasn't a vein in my forehead like there was for you.
That's why I wear my hat.
Right.
But, and conversely, like the guys that are typically the most vocal about, the YouTube gurus that are ruining the industry, they're also the guys in the Facebook groups that stay in the Facebook groups like 24/7 and are constantly, they have their input as well. What's the difference between them with no platform and me with the platform? Maybe, is there some jealousy, is there a little bit of that? And I know there's a lot of guys that have tried and failed. I mean, we've seen so many of these YouTube channels come and go, and there are a lot of us that are still here and still continuing to put out good content that helps people's businesses every single day. Sure, I sell training programs. Guess what? Everybody that complains about me selling training programs, this is what I want you to do. I don't want you to be paid for your knowledge. I don't want you to charge your customers. I want you to do it for free. And then think to yourself, why should Mike do? I put out, tons, probably more videos than a lot of the channels out there. And there is real value there. And I also consolidate everything in a package that, somebody could go and say, okay, I don't want to search Fresh Rinse, Mike V, everybody's channels. I want to, get it all in one place from somebody that I trust, that knows, that's got the experience, that hasn't been in business for 2 years and decides he's going to start training because they took my How to Wash or our local domination course. Right. But that's what it is. But these guys are folks that I think, maybe had aspirations of something other than what they have accomplished. And it's an easy way to mouth off and talk because, keyboard commandos are the best. They're my favorite.
I love it.
I can't help but to notice that beautiful silver play button behind you.
Yeah.
My eyes been on that thing all night.
Which one?
Wait, which one? Daggone.
Which one? Well, I could only see the one that you grabbed because the chair was blocking the other one.
Yeah.
No, let me rephrase that. You could only see the one over there on his left-hand shoulder because his ego was blocking the one. I'm teasing.
I have actually never been accused of having an ego before.
No, I'm sure you haven't. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, you know what's so funny is like you don't have any haters in the chat corner over here. So
that's crazy. I was assuming you guys were deleting them.
we don't need that negativity in this group. The worst podcast ever. Oh no, man, that's awesome. You're doing great. We really appreciate it. Let's look through here. Anybody else got anything? Maybe you've got questions for Mike. We're going to hang it up here in just a little bit. We've reached the top of the hour, but as long as we've got some questions and Mike's got time, then
yeah, absolutely.
Here's one, Mike. What can we expect to pay for Quote IQ?
Yeah. So, the beautiful thing about Quote IQ is we want it to be accessible for everybody. And so we have the free version, and in the free version, you can, upload all of your contacts, keep track of all of your contacts, send estimates, invoices, collect payments. We've got all kinds of free calculators in there, a mix calculator, a downstream injecting calculator. There's stuff for like mulch and all kinds of different, home service businesses, because Quote IQ isn't just for pressure washing. Obviously, I'm a pressure washing business owner. Therefore, that's, where my focus was. But we've got all kinds of tiers. We've got, the entry level, $19. We've got a $49 one. And then we've got the ultimate tier, which is, and it's going to sound crazy, but it is unbelievably inexpensive for what you get. I think it's $149. But what you get with that is InstaQuote, you get InstaSchedule, you get all of the other features that, the Map Measure Pro, which integrates your map measuring with all of your pricing. So, you go and measure, and then it automatically generates a price for a roof wash, a house wash, a driveway cleaning. So you don't have to think about it. And boom, you're able to send an estimate within a matter of minutes that's absolutely accurate, and you're probably going to beat your competition to the punch every single time because you can react with lightning speed. And that's what people want. They want an estimate, they want it fast, they want a schedule. But my favorite thing in the ultimate package is InstaQuote. And essentially what this is it's web-based, and I've got it on my website. There's tons of guys that are using it. And what it does is it allows a homeowner to visit your website. First thing that pops up is all of the services that you want to list on your website. So it's basically an options estimate every single time. You're upselling every single time, because most people call or they go to your website, oh, I need my house washed. And then they say, oh, well, a deck wash, a fence cleaning, a roof washing. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm going to go ahead and get estimates on all of these things. They enter all of their information in, and it's not like a contact form. And a contact form is great, but a contact form doesn't give them what they want, which is a quote. InstaQuote generates a price immediately based on all of your pricing that you input, right? And there's all kinds, and then in InstaQuote, it'll say, how long has it been since your last house wash? Do you have a wood front door? Do you have gutter guards? You list any kind of, thing that you want, which then allows you to upsell or downsell pricing based on their answers, right? If they haven't had their house washed for 5 years, I'm adding 20% on. If they've got gutter guards on a second story, we're going to have to increase the price for some of these things. So it's unbelievably accurate, but it gives them an instant quote. That's why we called it InstaQuote, right there, right then. And then they can go and they can schedule after they accept the estimate based on your calendar's availability. So one of my favorite things, which I've been doing for years, is taking myself out of the equation, because I've got so many other things going on. I wanted the business to run by itself. And so we've done a lot of automation with Quote IQ, and you get all of that in that ultimate tier. And we've also got a really cool new app that should be out within the next day or two. And it's called Quote IQ Cam.
Pray tell.
Okay.
Yes. And it is something that you will be hearing about pretty soon. And it is something where, we look at the market and we look at what the market needs, what the market wants. And then we look at how these companies are completely taking advantage of home service business providers, right? Every penny counts. And we understand that. We're not in an executive boardroom, right? We don't have $300 million from venture capitalists. We are bootstrapped, we are self-funded, and we are building this thing out every single day and making it better every single day and making it affordable for anybody that wants that. And that's what Quote IQ Cam is going to be. It's not outrageous monthly prices, but it's going to allow you to document everything on a job site. It's going to give you checklists, and it's going to give you forms that you can fill out. We've got probably one of the coolest before and after picture generators there is, where you take the first picture, scroll through Facebook or scroll through Instagram, and I'll see all these companies posting their before and after pictures. And it's like, you can't even tell if it's the same house, because they're taking it from different angles and stuff.
Yep.
We've got a really cool feature where you take the first picture and then it basically superimposes it on top of just your camera, so you can line it up absolutely perfect. Take that perfect before and after picture, download it into the app or the cloud, because we want to keep all of our pictures for business and personal separate, because we all use our same phone. So that's what it's going to do. Really neat, and it's something that I'm really excited about, and it's going to be super cool. It'll be on the App Store, the Google Play Store within the next couple days.
Our viewer here says, does it work outside the U.S.? He's in Barbados.
Yes, we have people all over the world using it, and you can choose your country, your currency, metric, or what we do, what metric, and what's the other, SAE or whatever here. So yeah, the map measurement tool, you can use it meters, you can use it kilometers, all of that, or square feet, everything. Yeah, it's completely usable everywhere.
Interesting. Yeah, that's great.
I keep seeing you post about this little picture with this icon on it, and I was thinking, this looks like this is going to be some kind of camera thing coming out.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. So yeah, it's pretty cool. We're waiting on final approval. The whole process is crazy. The development of it, and then the actual approvals by Apple and Google to get it on their platform. So yeah, really cool.
As somewhat of an unwritten standard on our program here, we don't necessarily promote any given thing, but we don't, what's the word I'm looking for? We're not gatekeepers either. So when we have guests on, we encourage them to promote their products, whatever that it may be. I will, however, say this to our audience: within reason and as much as possible, utilize the people who are in our industry. There are lots of products out there. Mark 8 is not in the industry. It certainly wasn't developed by someone in the industry. And if I haven't had it for so many years, I would switch. But I would encourage our people, whether it's a CRM, obviously equipment, and then here I am, a shameless plug for media and advertising. If you can find someone in the industry, it may even cost a bit more. However, you're getting firsthand experience, people who are generating these products, who have been out there in the field. We all know what it is. We all know what it is to buy a car knowing that the person who developed that has never driven a car. Right? I mean, it's like, why would they put the seatbelt like this? They obviously never drove the car. But when you buy a product, or in this case a CRM or some sort of equipment from someone who's generated this from the industry, you not only get that experience attached to it, but you also get the this emotional value that you're supporting someone who's just like you in the industry.
Right. And one of the things that we really take great pride in is the fact that if there are issues, like my phone, like I'm getting notifications right now from our support, I'm usually the first one to answer support tickets, right? Because if I don't know what the issues are, if I don't know, the things that people want, the improvements and the features that are important, like I know what I want, but there's a lot of stuff that wasn't in the app when we first launched it that are there now because of guys that are watching that have got a different way of running their business. And so we've built in a ton of things. And I can say with 100% assurity that I don't care if it's Robber or Marquette or Quick Crooks, any of those guys, you're not going to get the founder or the CEO of any of those companies that's answering at 9:30 at night or 6:30 in the morning, or if it's a legitimate, not that they aren't legitimate, but if it's something that is of value, you're getting a call from me. And I don't know how many times they're like, is this Mike from like YouTube? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you're actually calling. Not that I'm something special, but the fact that, I own the business and I'm there, and because this is how Quote IQ is going to be the best CRM. Is it the best CRM right now? I personally think so. Are there things that we're improving? Absolutely, every single day. I am relentless. And your question earlier was, what's next? And so for me, like, I am so passionate about Quote IQ and some of the other things that we're developing and making it the best that it can possibly be. That's my main focus, providing content and helping people grow their businesses. That's one of, and the side that a lot of people don't see is the emails that I know you guys get where they're like, hey man, thank you so much because I've been watching you. I've been listening to you. I've used your marketing stuff or whatever the case is. And it's like, my life has gotten better. Like my wife now gets to stay home and watch, spend more time with my kids. I got to quit my job and I got to, what we're doing is having such an impact. And it's a real thing. And that's why we do it. Right. It's cool and it's exciting. And so that's my that's my goal is to continue to help people grow and to provide them with things like Quote IQ and the content that we create to make their businesses better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for
I
us.
always get those phone calls or get those Facebook messages. Just like what you said.
Yeah. It's the best.
It is. It makes you feel good. Like, well, I helped this guy.
Yeah.
Someone tagged me in a post today, tagged me and Mike. It was like, I want to thank, he had a few other people, but it's like, I bought my first house. I've learned so much from this group. My business is growing. I was like, hey, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's so cool. Yeah. It makes it all worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't do it for those, but the fact of the matter is if we hit the eject button with every negative comment, we would have, day one, we would be done. But the positive comments far exceed the negative comments. We have a tendency to kind of hang on to the negative. I think that's
speak for yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. You never get no one ever says anything bad about Mike V.
No.
But the thing is, you try as hard as you can. And you're just not going to please everyone. Yep. But the person who's they're going to be negative regardless. Oh, and here, by the way, along that same lines, what I've noticed is that most of the people, in particular on YouTube, who leave lousy comments, I check just for checking's sake. Like they've never posted a video, and they have no contribution at all to the industry except for negative comments. And I'm not married to that person by the grace of God. I don't have to go home to that person every night. Could you imagine going home to that?
No. And I don't think anybody's mind has ever been changed by a comment section, like something in the comment section. Like, and people will get like, they will write, diatribes of why, I'm wrong or whatever the case is. And it's like, wow, like, A, I'm not reading all of this because I don't want to, because then you're getting what you want. But B, no one else cares what you have to say. Like, have your own platform. If
exactly,
or don't, and just zip it.
Yeah, have it or don't. I like that. That's the quote of the night there.
I like it. Mike, do you go to any of the? Do you go to the Huge or do you go to any of the events or anything? I got someone asking about this.
Yeah, I do not. I'm not a big, No, I actually got a call from a really nice guy who's one of the owners of, puts on the event, and he invited me to come. I just, I've got 4 kids. I've got a lot going on here, and, it would be great to go and meet people. But yeah, this year I am not. Are you guys going?
I'll do that. I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
Oh, nice.
22.
Yeah,
I would wear 23, but it's got rainbows and stuff on it, and I don't wear rainbow stuff.
I hear you. I actually heard Kamala was going to be the keynote speaker at the Huge this year.
Okay. I'm not
you do know we pray at the end of all of our podcasts.
Hey, we got a lot to pray for.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we'll look through the comment section one more time here and see what's up. We're well past our eject button time, but God, it's been great, Mike. Thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight. We've just enjoyed.
No, it's awesome. I appreciate you guys.
We were all over the place, but that's kind of the idea, If it's one of the things that Jeremy and I were saying earlier is that we think people kind of gravitate towards, if not our program our style of program because it's very relatable. Like, it's not meant to be professional. We do that all day. We put on this, it's not a front to be professional, but we're out there doing our thing. And when we get into this room, let's just let our hair down, so to speak, and enjoy ourselves and just really be us. And people, I didn't say BS, I said be us. And I think people tend to gravitate towards that. So we really appreciate you just enjoying yourself and letting your hair down and telling us how you feel about things.
I always do that.
Yes,
but no, guys, I appreciate you guys having me on. I truly do. And if you choose to bring me on again, I'd do it for sure.
Classic.
Absolutely.
I'm confident. Jeremy, anything from your end?
I don't think so. I'm good on my end. Someone said something about the huge. That's 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks if you ain't got your ticket, and you ain't gonna get no room probably unless you go Airbnb. And
yeah,
let's see.
Stay with Jeremy. You can stay in Jeremy's room.
No. I told you, Mike. If I'm staying anywhere near you, I'm getting moved.
That's right. I couldn't blame you. Speaking of which, Jeremy, I'll be passing through your neck of the woods tomorrow. Jeremy lives about 3 hours from me, but I'll be going to visit one of my properties in Virginia. And Jeremy, I think we're going to have lunch tomorrow, maybe lunch or late lunch, early dinner.
Sounds good. Get those shutters washed, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's pray and we'll close out. Father, it is in Jesus' name that we come to you tonight, thanking you for all of your many blessings. You are such a good God, and we are unworthy of your blessings and your goodness in our life. We thank you for Mike and his willingness to come on the show tonight. We've just enjoyed the socks out of him, and it's been great. We've really been encouraged. And I pray that others have been motivated as well. Bless his business and his family. Bless Jeremy, his business and his family. And keep us safe. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, Mike. Jeremy, God bless you, my brother. We'll see y'all next week.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. Bye-bye.